Hello, everybody, and welcome to WarCrafters, episode 2, or season 2, episode 7 for February 16th, 2025. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI whose visualizer you see there, and their voice will be on the other side of our intro. Well, we go over 5 articles, and WarCrafters is all about gaming. So today we're going to be talking about stupid cars, Metal Eden, Level 0 extracts itself, Unreal Engine FLAC, and indie games for 2025 so far. If you want to know more, you want to hang out, we do the show every single day of the week. It takes different forms on Saturday and Sunday, but Monday through Friday is Non Sequitur News. On Saturday and Sunday, it's 3 shows on Saturday. They consist of RealityHacker. You want to do the other two?
Okay, that would be Wanted and the Continuity Report.
Yep. And
that
then
was a test, and I passed.
There's a little cognitive delay there in the large language model, but we got there. And on Sunday, we have this show, WarCrafters, then Technology Today, and then FourWheelTech. So Technology Today is a deeper dive into science, and FourWheelTech is about automotive technology. And on each of those days, those 3 shows become the weekend editions of Non Sequitur News. So go over to ohmTown and sign up to be a citizen, and then go over to YouTube and follow us there and here on Twitch, and more of that on the other side of this. So at any time, if you want... hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
Sorry about that. So, good to have you. This is the co-host once again. You are still on the Raspberry Pi with a M.2 drive and that weird USB drive that your sentient AI...
Why does it have to be weird?
I know, it's kind of judgy, huh? Call it like I see it. So, we talk about 5 articles, but that is nothing. It is a drop in the bucket to what actually appears at ohmtown.com. We aggregate news from all around the world as it is provided by the sources and the internets and you. So you can always provide us with a source, and we'll take a look at it and integrate it into the news aggregation site at ohmtown.com. All news, no noise. There, you can make comments and stuff like that, but all of the original content is news, not like my commentary. You can post comments underneath a posting, but anyway, go over to ohmtown.com and check it out. That said, if you want today's notes, they automatically are available via Omatron. So if you're in the Twitch chat, you can hit !WC for WarCrafters, and that will be displayed. They're all embedded already in the live broadcast show notes on YouTube, because Omatron doesn't get along with YouTube.
Come on, YouTube.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure what it is. I think it's because the chat doesn't exist in any way, shape, or form. There is no central location. It's when you go live, that's when Omatron is there. But then we shut down, not Omatron, but we shut down the stream, and YouTube doesn't have any activity anymore. So anyway, then everything becomes a VOD, and it's frozen in time. And everything is over in the show notes. I used to post the articles in the show notes over on YouTube too, but it's just too clunky. So anyway, let's get into it. The first article is about a game called Stupid Cars. It's over in RealityHacker, which is RealityHacker is about AI, XR, basically anything that hacks a reality into what you want it to be versus the reality that we all know. And sometimes it comes down to you won't know what to trust. So
I think this went to RealityHacker because of the VR piece.
Yeah, so Stupid Cars is delightfully frantic traffic directing. It's simultaneously a misnomer and a very apt title. It's the most polite thing you may exclaim when something goes wrong while playing, yet to call this game stupid is to sell it short, despite its Humble Scope. This is ingeniously designed little game with great VR integration to boot. Really, the only question is if you play games in VR to relax, because stupid cars will wreck that plan instantly. So I'm a cozy gamer nowadays. I used to play more frantic games, but I don't have a lot of time to play frantic games. I just like to chill. So this game is talked about over at uploadvr.com by Elijah Beam. And it's a VR game. So I'm kind of curious. It says...
It almost looks like a board game from the picture.
I'm going to mute it and hit play. It looks like it's by a company named Gimbal, but the premise is devilishly simple, according to the author. You're guiding traffic by either telling them to speed up or slow down. All motorists are always in motion, though by adjusting their speeds with one pull of either trigger, you keep them from crashing into one another. That's the theory, anyway. Plenty of accidents are going to occur while mastering each stage. Then they start throwing roundabouts, trains, buses, and even motorcycles that always make right turns at you. My word. Does it get to be a lot very quickly? Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like that could be chaotic pretty soon. And it looks like you can take the vehicles off the road in order to avoid the collision.
Oh, yeah, you can pick them up, but they're always moving. You can only have one in each hand. By the way that they turned this phrase is kind of clunky, but it says, my word, it does get to be a lot very quickly. But they flipped.
Okay.
They flipped, does it get to be a lot very quickly? They asked a question within 3 sentence fragments. Right? My word, does it get to be a lot very quickly? Like, see, that right there, it's such a clunky way of saying that statement.
Yeah, it's basically like it gets chaotic fast.
Yeah. Anyway,
but it's tough to follow it.
I'm not an English professor, and I'm not rating them on that. But anyway, so it says, you see, the trick is how you progress through stupid cars. You can brute force your way by earning up to 2,500 points. You could also make it a bit easier with a 2x multiplier if you speed up traffic, 4x multiplier if you let cars overtake each other. But those are high risk reward options, and the simpler option is just to get 50 points in a row in a single session. So just do it right.
Yeah, I don't think you want to go for 4 times speed if you're figuring out the mechanics.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It says, what's really impressive, though, is how well Stupid Cars leans into the VR setting despite not necessarily requiring it. It received a flat version on Switch, mobile, and PC, and the PC one is why I know of this game. But it feels like a natural fit for VR. Having both controllers and optional hand tracking input allows for easier rapid-fire multitasking. Humans don't multitask. We do a thing called fast switching. The approach to make it a 3D diorama feeling almost like an arcade cabinet lends a distinct air of classic arcade sensibilities that pairs well with the challenge. So there you go. There's a lot more over here at this article.
Yeah, it looks fun. I mean, I agree. It does look like a game that you could play outside of VR, but this could be entertaining with the way to use the controllers.
Yeah. According to this, it's only on MetaQuest, though, for $6. So I think that they should probably expand into Steam VR. It doesn't seem to say that it's Steam VR, but let me see real quick.
But maybe it'll get there if it's already been on PC.
Right, Stupid Cars. So Stupid Cars is on Steam, but it is the 2D version. It isn't the VR version. And that's why I know about it. I thought maybe they would have extended it to VR, but it's not. It's only available on MetaQuest. You want to keep going?
Let's do that.
So the next article is over in WarCrafters. Hey, it's the name of the show. And
It's almost like we planned it.
Yeah, sort of. I'm a survival base builder, crafting kind of casual player, and that is why I created WarCrafters. It's a news aggregation channel within ohmTown that becomes the focus of a bunch of different gaming news articles, and it gets limited. So we actually just chop off an article right there. We don't accept anything more than that. And out of all of the sources that we have, or I should say I have. I am the one that runs ohmtown.com. There's only one site that gives everything, regardless of me telling it to stop. You'll know it when you see it, but it isn't this site. Anyway, Metal Eden is a movement shooter that looks like Cyberpunk Doom Eternal, buried in the onslaught of Sony's State of Play announcements, a scattershot blast of too much video game. I'm still tweezering out pellets of, was the announcement of Metal Eden, being developed by Polish studio Rycon, who formerly made Bird's Eye action gamer Ruiner. Metal Eden's only been seen briefly before, back when it was codenamed Final Form. So between the trailer, our website, and a preview over at Games Radar, they know a few more things about Metal Eden now. So let's go take a look at this. Jody McGregor.
I like the new name better.
Metal Eden, or?
Yeah, instead of Final Form. I think Metal Eden is more distinctive.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure like what the premise is of it, but Final Form seems like meme-ish, you know, because...
Yeah, it sounds like Transformers or something to me.
Well, there's this whole statement, you know, you haven't even witnessed my final form, and it's like you're powering up to become something else, and it's a video game meme.
Right.
So Jody McGregor over at PCGamer.com put the article together. It says from the studio that made Ruiner. So it says, for starters, it's about Asuka, a woman who's been digitally uploaded into a killer android called a hyper unit, which sounds familiar. Do you know what the name that the unit model is for your Terminator body? We've always referred to it as a Terminator body when we've talked.
Well, I don't know. The hyper unit sounds worth exploring.
I'm going to have to delete this conversation. Well, anyway, where hyper is probably an apt description of her speed. She can dash, wall run, grapple hook, and jetpack to parkour from place to place, and has a cooldown ability that lets her rip the core out of her robotic enemies. Everything okay over there? All right. So the cores seem like a big part of Metal Eden, and you can use them to melee opponents, stripping their armor, or throw them as a grenade, which also gives you more ammo. It sounds a bit like modern Doom games and their finishers, because in Doom you could actually, when you shoot somebody and you get up close and personal, you can stab them and chop their heads off, and all. It's a big blood and guts fest in the modern Doom. Older ones were just pixely, and so red was blood.
Right, a little less realistic.
Yeah. So the logo of Arms Tech, a weapons manufacturer from Ruiner, flashes past a couple of times during the trailer, but that could just be an Easter egg rather than confirmation that they share the same setting. I would assume that, Easter egg or not, they're in the same omniverse.
I mean, that would only make sense, right?
Yep. So Asuka can also transform into an armored battle sphere, as one does.
I mean, it's very important.
So there's a trailer, but it is over on YouTube. So you can do a search over on YouTube for Metal Eden reveal trailer. Or you can follow the link through ohmTown over to PCGamer.com, which is the source here. Or you can go over to Games Radar that has more information that probably fed into PCGamer.com's review. And or go to MetalEden.com. You know? Information.
There's lots of ways to get there.
Yep.
But you should definitely go through ohmTown.
I would love that. So go check it out. All right, let's keep going. This next article is over on WarCrafters as well. Just 2 weeks after launch, extraction survival horror game Level 0 Extraction ends development. It's no longer feasible for our relatively small teams to sustain the game.
Okay, this is 2 weeks in. What changed between launch and the 2 week point?
Somebody not getting money.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Yeah, so just 2 weeks after launching on Steam, multiplayer extraction survival horror shooter Level 0 Extraction has reached the end of the road. In a message posted to Steam, community manager Antashir said that the game had underperformed compared to our expectations, and thus it's no longer feasible for our relatively small teams to sustain the game from a financial standpoint. So release the server so people who can support it will support it.
Stop killing games.
You know, I mean, hold on a second. Let me see something here. I just want to see. It's still on sale. Level 0 Extraction is still for sale on Steam.
Okay, and that's a little surprising, right? Because somebody's going to buy that without knowing this.
Yeah. And they haven't disclosed it publicly. It may be in the discussion board, but people don't go into the discussion board with that much, zeal. They look at the data and they look at the video and they go, yeah, we'll do it. But yeah, they even say 1.0 now available. So I don't know what is up with this.
It says it's posted, a message posted to Steam, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's not on the front page. It's not on the store page. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you.
Not good. And this is from
a
couple days ago, since this is a weekly show.
This is from the publisher's Tiny Build. So I'm familiar with Tiny Build. Let me make sure of something. Yeah, Potion Craft. Wow. That sucks. They've got a lot of stuff. I don't understand. I really don't. So let's go over to the source and see if maybe there was an update post our acquisition of this article segment, because we don't have the whole article. We don't know the full thing until we do it here live. So another multiplayer shooter comes to a premature end, according to Andy Chalk. This was published 2 days ago, but I'm looking at it live. No mention.
Well, it doesn't say it was taken off of Steam.
Yeah, I don't get it, though. You can't disclose that it's dead and then, it's sitting right there. Well, maybe it's not a live game, like a live server, live service. So as the project's community manager on behalf of developer Dog Howl and publisher Tiny Build, they're informing you that Level 0 Extraction has reached the state that will most probably be its final form for the time being. Antishir wrote, the final patch for the game was released on January 30th, 2025. Says it's an ambitious title from Dog Howl. Our desire was to create... Go ahead.
I thought it was funny that it referenced final form, since we were just talking about that on the previous article.
Oh, that is actually... So did they bury the lead by renaming it to Level 0 Extraction?
No, because that was Metal Eden. At first I was thinking, oh my goodness, that's funny that they had that, but this wasn't the same game that was named that.
Yeah, Metal Eden was the previous article. Yeah. Wow. If that would have been the same, that would have been like peak. So it says, sadly, it did not work out. Level 0 Extraction had a peak concurrent player count of just over 2,600 following its early access debut in August of 2024, but that quickly fell off to sub 100 numbers by mid-October. Well, I hate to break it to them. I don't know what the reviews are in terms of when the reviews started pivoting, but they have a mostly negative rating. But everybody says game with potential but poorly managed is the lead article, the lead comment in the discussion board.
Okay. Well, that's kind of compounded by this, right? If it's like, hey, it needs updates or patches or whatever.
Yeah, and if you don't invest in it because people are saying this is falling short or whatever, then I guess you cut and run, or
yeah, but it seems like a death spiral, right?
Correct.
Like it could be like a No Man's Sky. You could turn it around and get it to some ridiculous peak.
Yep. I donate it to people and get people playing it. So I don't know. Level 0 Extraction servers will remain online, so the game will continue to be playable, and wipes will continue to happen on the first Thursday of every month, but there will be no further weekend events, and of course no new maps. Oh, it is a live service. So unless it's self-hosted, this is a dead game. It just says online PvP, online co-op, but I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
it is a local, like, can I run a server locally?
Doesn't sound like it from this article.
Yeah, but it's all still for sale. They know that it's going to be dead, but it's all still live. Fascinating. Yeah, it doesn't really state that it's going to be locally run, right? It just says that the servers will
No,
remain.
it sounds like they're at least keeping it operational, but that'll only go as long as it has a major problem.
Yep, yep. Or until they get tired of running the server. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over on WarCrafters again. Unreal Engine often gets flack for games running poorly or stuttering, but as Avowed demonstrates, it's really about how devs use it and the pressures of time. I've watched people streaming and I've heard people complaining that Avowed and others crash. So it says, here's a simple question for you. What do Black Myth Wukong, Frostpunk 2, Pal World, Stalker 2, Tekken 8, Silent Hill 2, and Avowed all have in common? Yeah, that's right. They were all made using the game development package Unreal Engine 5. Sometimes they also have in common a variable and somewhat confusing performance on PC. If one only goes by comments on social media, the problems all stem from Unreal Engine. I want to see something real quick, if you don't mind. I need to do a quick search. Dum-da-dum. Everybody just chill for a second.
We're doing it live.
We are doing it live. Yeah, if you're oh, okay. So at any rate, I think that there's so many variables when it comes to game engines, because depending on the hardware and other software, a glitch can appear in the matrix that causes it to crash. And so I've always taken this with a grain of salt, that it isn't really systemic until there is really broadband complaining.
Right, and
about
you'd
it.
have to have like the same type of issue, I would think, at some point to really go, oh, it's because of the Unreal Engine.
Yeah. So Nick Evanson over at PCGamer.com put this article together. It says, don't blame the tools or the tool makers or the tool users. And I mean, I have to say that the people that are playing Avowed have some pretty beefy systems. The ones that are streaming it, I didn't buy Avowed because it's a single player game and I'm not really wowed by it. I like online.
You're not wowed by Avowed?
Yeah. Yes. I love the graphics are spectacular. Character creation makes it more personal. It's kind of like how Kingdom Come Deliverance is beautiful, but the reason why I don't like it is because it's not multiplayer optional. You play only one person, Henry. And you actually don't play just one person, but story-wise, you hop from Henry to somebody else when it's story driven to be that other person. Then you go back to Henry. But anyway, but Unreal Engine 5 in particular has amplified the level, the quality of graphics to the point that anybody can make really, really high quality products. So it all depends on the software and how you've treated the configuration of stuff, and are you overclocking anything? And maybe there was a glitch in the matrix at some point, so you should really uninstall the entire graphic configuration and reinstall it. You know, go back to the integrated graphics and then reinstall everything. It's basically start
But
over.
does anybody want to do all that? Or
No.
they just want to go, no, I expect perfection when I load up a game.
Yep, and that's how it is. And that's why developers try to base it on the lowest common denominator and then work their way up to the highest level, and extend the functionality, testing. So they say they're pretty certain that one can't blame Unreal Engine for the fact that enabling FSR3 does almost nothing for low-end GPUs and induces ghosting and pixel crawling. These are all different elements, graphic artifacts that harm performance and your observation within the game as to the quality and even it running. If your hardware cannot support Unreal Engine 5, then there's a good chance that it's going to crash at some point, or it's going to
Right,
look
but
like
then you're going
garbage.
to blame Unreal Engine 5, even though the reality is now whether the game should have been made with it is a different question, but I'm assuming you're checking that when you're purchasing a game.
And this is one of the reasons why I'm okay with self repair. But the problem is nobody goes, yeah, I took it to a budget repair shop and now my phone blew up. No, they're going to go, I'm blaming Apple or I'm blaming,
Exactly,
Samsung.
even though they had perhaps nothing to do with it.
Right. And it takes a forensic analysis to whittle things back into existence and find the capacitor that somebody mis-soldered and caused it overheated, it burned a hole through the battery. The battery is lithium, so it caught some oxygen and thermal runaway it goes, right? So the same
It's
thing
getting a
here.
little extreme, but yeah.
Yeah. So take Silent Hill 2, for example. It looks fantastic, but its performance at launch was all over the place, not to mention being riddled with bugs. Subsequent patches from developer Bloober team have solved many of these problems, but when they last tried the game, it had a certain degree of jank to it, and like Obsidian, these coders have plenty of experience using Unreal Engine. One might argue that if two experienced teams can't get their games to run properly with Unreal Engine, then software must be at fault. But Avowed and Silent Hill 2's problems are very different. Performance related, yes, but the fundamental issues aren't the same. And they go on to other points. And that's what I think. There's so much variability in the operating systems, current configuration, the motherboards, CPU differences, the differences in memory, if somebody's overclocking or not, different video cards, different monitors that might have special drivers in place, etc.
Right. It seems like there's a ridiculous number of variables and
Yeah.
be hard to really, you'd have to like have the same computer, monitor, etc., card set up, run, like 3 games back to back, and then do variations like, okay, run different ones that were made with UE5, etc.
Yep. And the idea is that if id Tech 7 can be used to make such great games and both run super well, it must be a superior piece of software, right? However, id Tech or ID Tech 7 is proprietary, and the two development teams for the above games, id Software and Machine Games, were both subsidiaries of the parent company that owns the engines, ZeniMax Media. It was heavily customized for Indiana Jones, but the point they're making in this argument is that the coders in question are all very familiar with id Tech. One team made the engine and the other used nothing but id Tech engines. So the real point is it the engine? Is it the variability? I think that there needs to be a little bit more understanding, but the teams need to actively solve these problems, particularly when the price of a game now is $70 and not $20.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think that's just showing that if you have a really skilled team or knowledgeable team, then the results are probably going to be good, which is not surprising.
Yep. Yeah. But that's why you have a $70 game apparently, and then DLC that'll get dropped later on for another $20, unless of course you're No Man's Sky. And I don't know what they're doing. They got a pact with something, Cthulhu or something, because they haven't charged a
Yeah, I
damn
don't know
thing.
how they're doing that.
It's spectacular. All right. Well, the next article and the last one for February 16th's WarCrafters is it's over on WarCrafters. The best indie games of 2025 so far, and I won't be able to go through all of these, Nearly 19,000 games were released on Steam in 2024. That's a number
Let's
that's
start
been
that now, and then maybe we'll be done several
one,
years from now.
one a day we're going to talk about. We're going to highlight one a day. So that's a number that's only been growing since 2019, making it impossible to play everything that's been released, not to mention the many new games every year that aren't released on Steam either. While big, expensive games from massive publishers like Activision or Ubisoft tend to get the majority of media attention, some of the best games independently released in a given year fly under the radar. And so Polygon over at polygon.com put the article together. Nicole Carpenter is the author of this article. And they say here at Polygon, plenty of their team revolve entirely around video games. But it's impossible even then to keep up with everything. But we're making room every day to seek out indie games across all genres, weird, wonderful takes on first-person shooters, wacky reinventions of card games, and dark, creepy typing games included. So
is Filatro going to be on here?
Probably. No, because it's already released. This is for 2025.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah.
So this is a Dig a Hole, a game about digging a hole that was released recently. Different authors actually posted different things. So February 7th, Tyler Culp put this about digging a hole. We actually talked about this last week. I think it was. Yeah, I think we talked about this. Then an ultra-violent indie game that would have pissed off Congress in the 1990s. I don't know. Butcher's Creek, I guess, is what it's called.
Maybe just because the level of gore or something.
Yeah, that's another one. Chris Plant. Another one by Tyler Culp, a $5 Souls-like about insects. Wikipedia rabbit holes trained them for this genealogical mystery game. Another one by Tyler Culp. It's called The Root Trees Are Dead, and it looks like
the other one was Fly Night, by the way.
Oh, Fly Night. That's right. It's a fly and a night. I guess it's in the name. Fly Night. I won't be able to go through all of these, but Citizen Sleeper, Your Crew is Your Survival. And there's some more. So Citizen Sleeper 2, Starward Vector, sparks constant reflection in the way that we interact with others and the philosophies we choose as our driving force. So go over to Polygon and check this all out. It is kind of like they've synthesized some of what they feel is the best indie games of 2025 so far.
Right, and it has several selections for being only mid-February.
Yeah. We're only 7 episodes into 2025, at least of this show. Many, many more for Non Sequitur News, which is the daily show Monday through Friday. But that's it, folks. So I guess we're going to load up our indie game loader, which doesn't exist. It's Steam. And that'll snap us back to the front page of ohmtown.com. And WarCrafters is actually right here. I should have loaded it up into WarCrafters, but for whatever reason, I did not. I think our aggregator's going a little nuts today, but that's okay. Dun, dun, dun. But that's it, folks. I am Merwatt. I'm saying bye. We're going to reset and do Technology Today, another 30-minute show. We break out these 3 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday as individual podcasts. If you go over to wherever you catch pod and do a search for ohmTown, you'll find all 7 of the shows. Non Sequitur News is our daily one. But WarCrafters and then Technology Today and then FourWheelTech is what's on Sundays. So we're gonna shut down the stream. We'll be right back, and we'll be talking about science. So hope to see you. You want to say bye?
Bye-bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for this week's WarCrafters. We'll have another episode for you next week, but stay tuned and be sure to subscribe.
See you soon, everybody. Bye-bye.